Nathan, no, the nation's credit rating is not going to drop. This is the same thing that always happens in Congress. They do nothing. The president does nothing. They'll get an agreement the night before they have to. You know, they started talking about this 5 weeks ago. They don't like to do things in advance, so they'll keep everybody longer. They probably won't go on one of their next vacations, which is pretty common, and they'll get it done at the last minute, so we won't see a drop in their numbers. So let's have a conversation today. We are chatting this morning. I got a sound bite just for you. He is the coach, Bob Russo, Realty Masters and Associates. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Ron.
So tell me, what kind of coach are you? Tell us a little bit about the coaching.
The coaching. Well, you know, I got my degree at Cal State Fullerton back in 1978 and was going to go teach and coach, but I got my real estate license when I was 19.
Wow.
So I've had it for 48 years right now.
48 years.
Yeah, 48 years in the industry.
So you're you don't even have to go through any more of the
I got
renewals or any of that?
I got one renewal this year, and then I'm done after 70.
Okay.
So
is it an age or time of service?
it's an age, I think.
Okay.
They told me it was 70.
Okay.
So, you know, I'm almost there.
I identify as 70 for certain things. Does that count?
That's
different story. Okay. So 48 years. So how does that tie into coaching?
Well, you know, my dream was always to coach. So halfway through my career, I met a good friend that was coaching over at Riverside Community College. And
Okay.
I went over there and said, "Hey, can I help you out?" And became his assistant coach for 8 years, and then got the head coaching position for 6 years after that.
So basketball guy.
Basketball guy.
So you must be in heaven right now with all these playoffs going on.
Oh, Final Four was great this year. A lot of good games. And then the NBA Finals now. It's good to watch right now.
So are you still coaching?
I'm coaching my grandkids now. I got
Okay.
a first and second grade team, and I got a fifth and sixth grade team.
Bet they don't give you as much heartache.
Oh, no. Junior college basketball, that's like dog years, you know. I coached 144 years.
144 years right there.
That's it.
Okay. Okay, I get you. So 48 years in real estate, so you've seen a thing or two.
You know, when I started, prices, first track of homes I started was $44,000, you know, so I've seen the increase over the years.
$44,000.
Right. We're selling half acre horse ranches out at a community in Jurupa Valley now. It was Mira Loma at the time, called Sky Country Homes.
Wow.
And we had 1,500 homes. That's how I started my career.
So what are those? Do you have any, just a guess? What are those selling for today?
Probably between 700,000 and 800,000.
700 to 800. And that was how long?
What's that? 75, almost.
Was it 1975?
Yeah, 75, almost. Okay. That's 48 years.
Think about that. I mean, if you bought that house back then at 44,000, you put 10% down, and I don't know in the 70s. I didn't get started to the 80s. So 44,000. Say you put 4,000 down, so you've got a $4,000 investment. That's now got you $650,000 in equity.
Amazing. You know, back then, though,
appreciation. You probably paid off your loan by then.
Well, you know, back then, mortgage financing was completely different. They didn't have FICO scores. You know, they didn't have, you know, everybody had 20% down, it seemed like.
Okay.
They didn't even have 95% financing.
But about 5 or 6 years later, maybe 8 years later, you had 18% financing.
We had 18% financing.
Unfortunately, that's where I got in.
And we had to get a little creative back then because we did a lot of CalVet loans at the time because rates were 5%, but and everything was 18%. So
what is a CalVet loan?
It's a California veteran loan, and and basically it's a land contract. So it's a different thing that the state they have bonds and the for any California veterans. And it's a great program at the time because it took 9 months to get because they ran out of money and then they got money back.
Oh, sounds like the California Dream program.
Yeah. And so what happened was the developer carried the paper for that 9 months. And when the CalVet loan came through, we initiated that loan and closed the deal.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
So you've got a background in the creative financing.
Correct.
AITDs,
many things, because and that's the thing. Whenever you get into a bubble or high interest rates, you have to find some creativity out there to get your people qualified and get them into a home.
You must be laughing right now when people are saying 7% is a high interest rate.
Oh, I mean, we always said if it got down below 12, we'd all be jumping for joy.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we look at some of the folks out there, I do, and you may have heard this before, but we've got our millennial and the old man. In fact, Josh, what is that? Monday we're doing millennial and the old man? Oh no, it's a couple weeks from now. Millennial and the old man. And you listen to some of the things that the millennials look at, and well, interest rates are at 3% or 4%, and now they're at 7% or whatever they are. I don't know what they are today, but wow, we got to wait for them to go down. They're way too high. Yeah. And you're probably just chuckling.
Yeah. It's all relevant though, because we had $44,000 homes compared to, income's up right now. People can qualify for more, but yeah, if they see an increase 1%, 0.5% in the interest rate, there's a transition period, going from 3 to 5. So there is a pause there because people mentally have to get used to that and get used to that new payment.
And there's a lot of changes in all these things. So we're watching all of them. And when we come back, I want to chat with you a little bit. I was on a call yesterday with a good friend of mine, and he was sharing the issue of home affordability. Where's that? What's that got to do with things right now? So we'll talk about that when we come back. If you need help with any of these things, call us 800-306-1990. I have a bank of realtors who will help you. I have investors that'll buy your property. It's solutions is what we have at Ron Siegel Radio. Continuing our conversation, Bob Russo is with us. We've got his theme song going. Realty Masters and Associates. You've seen all these things before.
Seen them many times.
Right? I mean,
many times.
48 years in real estate. You've seen multiple recessions.
Prices
going
bubbles.
up. Multiple bubbles.
Yeah.
Prices going up. Prices going down. In the recessions, prices go, real estate values up or down?
It'll depend. Okay. And you never want to see things going up really fast because it been in this for so long, it's going to come back down or level out or pause. It gets to a point where if it goes up so high, then how deep is it going to go on either way?
Think about, my opinion, the worst investment you can possibly make. Okay. I would say arguably Bitcoin, right? It went up to what, 60-some thousand dollars a coin.
Right.
And when the market corrected, it went down to, I think, 19,000.
Yes.
Right. And I'm not an investor in Bitcoin, but you always look at these things. You say that which goes up like a rocket ship.
Right.
It may come down like a rocket ship also. Right. And real estate values went up 20% a year. That wasn't healthy.
No, it was not healthy because you like some stability. And when it does that, it's just a matter of time because you price everybody out of the market.
Right. And so you start looking at these affordability issues, and that's where some of the problems come.
Yeah.
Right. So if you bought that house, we'll just go back to your model there at 700,000, right? And you did that and you bought it at 3% last year or 4%, whatever your number was. And today you're looking at I don't remember what we said that the rates locked at yesterday, 6.4, right? You've doubled your interest rate, more than double.
It's amazing.
That's going to hurt your affordability.
It is.
Right. So there's going to be that's going to make a smaller market. But if you've got that 3.3% or 4%, unless you've got one of the Ds, right? The diplomas, diamonds, diapers, death, divorce, or default. Unless you have one of those.
Right.
You're not selling.
Everybody's staying where they're at right now, unless they want to move out of state. There's not a lot of move up buyers because of rates.
So the whole concept right there, that's going to end up keeping the values high because you've got people that are still creating households. There's still people that are having babies, right? So if they're still having babies, they need a house to put them in.
Exactly.
And it costs a little bit more than the tent down there in Santa Monica, right? I mean, so the bottom line here is, those people want a house. So if you've got that foreclosure, they're gonna be dealing with that. Now, I'm just throwing in some numbers into one of my handy dandy calculators right here. So that's $700,000 house. If it's a $700,000 loan, 3%, you're looking at $3,027 principal and interest. 6.4, it's gone up to $4,378. That's about a 50% increase. Did your income go up 50%?
And that's the problem, Ron, right there, because the income is not keeping up with the rents or the payments right now.
Right now. And then you got eggs prices went up, gas prices went up. So we still need to eat. So there's the demand, the supply side of real estate is not growing.
No.
Right. Even though now you're in some areas where I drove out to Murrieta yesterday.
Right.
And I actually did see some land.
Oh,
right. I go down to Newport Beach. There's no land. It's a concrete.
Right. And that's where the expansion goes. The progress goes. When I started, it was LA to Orange County, then Orange County to Corona, then the Inland Empire. And, went out to Temecula, Murrieta, the areas that you're talking about right now, and watch that growth area. Menifee right now is in the top 10 in the growth area in the country right now.
Do you think it's going to stay there as interest rates have gone up?
It's affordable.
Okay.
I mean, first-time home buyers. I mean, Orange County's tough for a first-time home buyer right now.
At $1,032,000 median household price.
Yeah. So, I mean, and the trade-off is a commute. I mean, that's, one of the big things that people are, it's a quality. You're getting a 60, 70-year-old home in Orange County compared to out in the Inland Empire where you can get a brand new home.
So there's benefits to that.
There definitely is benefits.
So the biggest question, though, and especially being that you're coaching what, first and third graders?
First and second graders.
First and second.
Yeah.
So the trade-off, though, is if mom or dad or both are having to commute, are we getting multi-generational houses?
Absolutely.
Really?
Yeah. I think you're seeing two-family houses are going to be very, very popular. I think, developers are going to start going to that because affordability, even for my kids and the young people out there right now, and working both, so it gets back down to the quality of life too.
Okay. We're going to talk about that more when we come back. Continue our conversation, chatting this morning, Bob Russo, Realty Masters and Associates. Chatting about, before the break, we were talking about, the trade-offs and the costs for people. And the fact of, when I was young, it was a long time ago. So I had an aunt that moved from Anaheim, West Anaheim. Anaheim Hills was hardly even here. I mean, the hills were here, but the houses weren't. And she moved to Corona, and it was like, you had to take a suitcase to go see her. Now you look at, and I went to Murrieta yesterday just for a meeting and thought nothing of it. I left after the broadcast. I was there for lunch. I was home before dinner. No big deal. Because the freeways and infrastructure there. People are doing that every day now for work. And we were talking with Bob about the idea of, maybe are we going to multi-generational housing? And, I'm not talking about ADUs. I'm talking about you've got land out there, Bob, that people can actually build on. And, you said you've got 5 grandkids. Maybe you've got some of the kids want to move in with you. Right. And
just the grandkids, the kids can stay on their own.
There you go. I agree with you.
That's it.
Yeah, grandson, come with us and leave mom and dad. Let them go out to dinner themselves.
Right.
I'm gonna have to try that one next time they call and want to go Taco Tuesday. I say, why don't you guys go to Taco Tuesday and drop the baby off with us?
That's it.
That would work even better.
Perfect.
But what I want to get to is, earlier in the broadcast we're talking about the cost of permits and how expensive they are. So if I go and buy, and I don't know, maybe a 2,500 square foot house, right? And say that's perfect for a single family. And maybe if I had in-laws, if I wanted my in-laws or parents, if any of them were alive anymore, it would be great. They'd move in with us. And maybe now we need a 3,500 or 4,000 foot house. And these things way better than me because I've never done any of the building stuff.
Right.
Is there a significant difference in permitting costs? The upfront cost to build that 2,500 versus maybe a 4,000?
There's not that much more, per square foot. Architectural fees might be a little bit more, but your basic fees are going to be the same.
But if it goes to the city and county and state.
If it's 60, 70,000, it might be $5,000 more, $10,000 more, somewhere in there, but it's not significant.
As opposed to having to build 2 houses that are each, smaller then each one of them is going to have that 60 or 70,000.
Exactly.
Right. And, you're talking about the quality of life. I'm going to suggest now, it would have been difficult for me to live with my in-laws. I know it was difficult while we were doing some construction on a house for my wife living with my parents, because we've done them. If you get used to that kind of living, it, in Asia, that's common life.
A lot of European countries, it's common life. Everybody lives together, lives in the same area, lives in the same place. I think what's happening right now, though, I think we're getting put into a position, especially for the younger kids, that they're not going to have a choice.
Right.
You just went over those payments, $1,300 extra right there. Well, that's a lot of money, every month coming in. So,
and then you start saying now I understand. I haven't looked at this, but I understand it's like $2,000 or $3,000 a month for daycare.
It's over the top right now.
Right.
That's why my kids recruit me to live by them closely, because they politic us to babysit right every day. No, but
if they're driving from the Inland Empire areas, Menifee you were talking about earlier,
right,
and maybe working in Orange County or LA County, they're spending an hour and a half on the freeway.
They are, but we are seeing the industrial base moving out that way right now, around March Air Force Base, all of 215, 15, that whole area. It's in a big growth mode, especially industrial and commercially. So you're seeing a lot more jobs.
Jobs are migrating.
Jobs are definitely migrating in the areas.
So you've got so that's an interesting point right there, because those sound like more blue collar jobs, right?
They are.
And a lot of the white collar jobs have gone virtual. So you can be out there and enjoying the quality of life. Think about that. I mean, if you're spending, $3,000 a month on a house, because I didn't even put into my spreadsheet that, into the pricing that I just looked at, right. You can buy a house, I'm assuming, out in Murrieta area for $700,000.
Oh, with no doubt.
Right. And you got the Orange County median is over $1 million.
Yes.
So now just look at that, take that number and throw that into the mix. At $1 million at that, 6.4%. And now you're talking about a whole nother ball game, as far as quality of life. What can you do?
Right.
And those are big things, because it's, how do you put your kids into Little League, put them into football? Because those are all expenses.
They are. And those extra expenses, it gets back down to, I always told young people, you don't want to be a slave to your house payment.
There you go.
You definitely don't want to be a slave to your house payment, because there's more to life than the house payment. So
I just threw that into my numbers machine here. And again, I'm just using 6.4% because that's what OBMMI locked at yesterday. I don't know what you would qualify for. Right. But you're looking at $1 million loan at 6.4% is $6,255 a month, plus taxes and insurance. Right. So you got another $1,000 just in taxes and insurance on that. Right. So think about that. Then you want to put your kids in daycare. That's a big thing to be said about taking a look at the Inland Empire.
There's no question.
I hope my kids aren't listening to this, because I want them close to me. I don't want them to be recruited.
I mean, there's a lot of opportunity there. Again, it's a priority, and families involved. The multi-generation things in Orange County could work too, especially with ADUs.
There you go. Yeah.
I mean, so there's many different solutions out there. And, I'm not trying to compare Inland Empire, but, price wise, there is a comparison, because I just sold a $1 million listing that I had in Lake Forest that was built in 1975, a 1,500 square foot home.
Wow.
For 1.1 million.
1,500 square feet for 1.1 million.
Right. In Lake Forest. And then you go to the Inland Empire, and what you could get for that in the Inland Empire, in the Murrieta, Menifee area, or, anywhere in the Inland Empire, you're going to double the square footage at minimum, and land, the whole thing.
So if you could survive at that 1,500 and buy that out in the Menifee and Murrieta area, right? You might be going on more vacations.
Little League, enjoy your kids a little bit more. You don't have that pressure.
And there's a big issue right there, right? It's the pressure as well.
Yeah. I mean, you outgrow a 1,500 square foot home real quick.
Absolutely. So think about these concepts, and I don't, why do I bring this up? Why do I talk about these issues? Well, it's just open your eyes, right? We started doing the radio broadcast in 2010 with the idea of educating. Now, some people may not even have their eyes open to Murrieta. It was a little warmer out there yesterday. I mean,
It gets warm. It gets
was
warm.
a little over 90 degrees measured on the ar when I was driving there. So
it gets warm. You do have the weather.
But you can go over to Temecula and get some wine.
You know what? They started when I first moved out there. I moved out to Canyon Lake in 1979. I think Temecula had one winery.
Wow.
And there was nothing between Lake Elsinore and Temecula at the time. Murrieta wasn't even thought of. Menifee wasn't even thought of. And so you see that progression. And if you want to stay ahead of progress, you have to move. The old saying was, you moved every 25 years, and that's about right.
So just moving into different areas. Now, if you're thinking about moving, give us a call, 800-306-1990. We'll put you in touch with agents that can help you. Maybe you're looking to relocate. I know a lot of people that are in Orange County now. They're looking at relocating and retiring into the Coachella Valley. Right. I mean, they might not want to be there this weekend. The last two, I think, have been pretty active there with the festivals. But think about this: sell that property. Don't go and pay cash for the new house. I know it sounds self-serving, but don't go pay cash for the new house. Think about it. If you're of age, reverse mortgage is a great product. Right? My parents had it; they loved it. And I'm not old enough for it yet, Bob. So, but I mean, think about that. I mean, you sell that 1.1 million. If they had that paid off, who knows what they did? But think about that, and you have $300,000 to put down. You get a $600,000 house, roughly, right, and not have a payment for the rest of your life. And now you've still got about $800,000 left in the bank.
You live comfortably the rest of your life,
right? Making 6%. And we've shown you how to make 7, 8, 9%. But let's just say 6%, 800,000. That's about $4,000 a month.
Yep.
Right, and you never touch the principal.
No, you live off of that.
Right, your Social Security, your retirement money.
You're good to go.
Right, it's all planning. A lot of people don't even think about the idea of about getting involved in planning for all these different things.
No.
Right, you said 25 years, so that's that. You got some time to plan.
You do.
So we got to talk about affordability and quality of life. Is there anything that you see if I were to move, and I'm 60, so if I moved from Orange County to go out to Murrieta, and you've done this, right? So you're in Orange County and you moved out. Anything you miss?
No, you're usually, depending on the time of traffic, you're only an hour away. I could get to.
It's 55 minutes for me to get back.
I can get to any beaches. I can go to the San Diego beaches. I can go to the Orange County beaches. I can go to the mountains. I mean, recreational wise, I'm still good.
Yeah.
It's just a little bit longer drive, which is not a problem. And but
you're at Canyon Lakes, you got it made.
Yeah,
you got the water right there.
I got it right there.
What does property sell for in that area?
You know what? It depends, because you have waterfront properties, which are $1.5 million up, probably, depending on where the your dock is. They have an east bay, and then they have the main lake type thing, where people have their docks and everything. And then you're probably starting maybe around 500,000 up for the ones that are off the lake.
Okay, so
yeah,
and even the ones off the lake, how long a drive or walk or bike ride is it?
There's about 5,000 homes in there right now.
So it's a big development.
Yeah, it's a big development. It's a big community. There's about 14 miles of shoreline.
Nice.
Water ski, wakeboard, do all that good stuff.
Sounds fun.
I don't do that anymore, but my grandkids and my kids do that.
So they come visit you to do that.
I do the kayak now.
The kayaks are fun.
And the paddle.
Stand-up paddleboard.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
There you go.
The slow stuff. Hey, the slow stuff, Ron.
Something I'm into slow.
Yeah, that's right.
At my size, I don't move fast anywhere. Hey, but that's if you want more information about this, give us a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990.